We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being number 2, you're gonna go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good morning on the West Coast. Good morning in the Mountain. Good morning in the Central. Good morning on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, Emily. Angela Levine, your hostess on the Reparations perspective, bringing you those Black American Freedom Negro hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. Thank you so much, one and all, for joining the live. Welcome, Yaira. I see you, fam. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are tuning in from Twitter, welcome to the live. Racebook, I just pretty much posted my YouTube link for you to join me over here, or you can join me on Twitter. I see you, Lizo. Shadow. Shadow. Thank you, my love. Hi, The Rock. Thank you guys for joining the live. Y'all, we in trouble. We are in trouble. We are in trouble. I don't know how many times I've got to sound the alarm. I don't even know. This is abysmal. What's going on in real time with the Black vote? We are being genocided with our own damn vote. Let's get into it. You know, it's exhausting coming here, but I see changes happening. I just pray that they're happening for the better. I got my glasses nearby, y'all. I got my water. I should be good on this one, not having to run around trying to find some glasses. So I'm good right there. But family, let's go. Okay, so I want to talk with you guys because I feel like what I'm doing, what the other
conscious Black media is doing to highlight what's happening with the weaponization of immigration against Black Americans to genocide us with our own damn vote. They're doing a great job at bringing the news to you guys, to all of us, because I see them. I watch them as well, and that's how my broadcasts get framed. But if all of us get involved and if all of us lean in, we can really make a huge impact, because I see a huge shift, y'all, in the consciousness of Black America. Now, is it shifting more towards withholding the vote, or are they shifting more towards weaponizing the vote, akin to my Black American Freedmen Negro protest voter strategy for closed border candidates? I pray it's the latter. But let's get into it, because I got to get my greens cut and my chicken in the marinade so I can go work out and get some other stuff done. I don't want to keep y'all beyond 2 hours. Let's go. This here really made my stomach turn, okay? This made my stomach turn, and I'm going to bring in other support as to why your stomach should be turning too. Brandon Johnson is now seeking $25 million more dollars on top of the $211 million. It's not no $76 million, it ain't no $51 million. They have spent $211 million and want $25 million more to house who? The illegals. Let's get into it, family. Let me find my article. I got so many things open. Just bear with me. Bear with your sister. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Everybody needs to be in class this morning. Everybody needs to be in class this morning. Do you hear me? Do you understand and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Y'all need to sound the alarm. Let me come over here and make sure I'm strolling my stream down here, my banner, because y'all need to bring everybody up in here to see this here. Y'all need to bring everybody over here. This is abysmal. It is a nightmare what this man is doing with the Black vote. Listen. And why aren't there any recall elections going on in Chicago? What the hell is going on with Chicago besides screaming and wailing and gnashing their teeth? I'm not understanding. Maybe y'all can help me out in the comments, co-host. Let me know what's going on. Let's talk about it, because everybody, New Black Media has been talking about it. This is the kind of stuff, y'all, that they're not talking about in the mainstream media. Why is that, family? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Thank you. They don't want more Black support to drain from the Joe Crow administration, because that's what's happening, y'all. That's what's happening. It went from 84%, and now two polls show 74% of the Black vote for the Joe Crow administration, and a Fox poll shows 55%. I'm more prone to believe in the 55%. I know how these Demonrats lie about poll numbers. So, anywho, I don't understand why there ain't a recall. I done told y'all they spent $211 million so far. And now this. So let's get into this article. I don't want to belabor. Hold on, y'all. Let's get into it. Liberal Brandon Johnson with the Black vote wants rental assistance expedited work permits for Chicago's illegal population. The horror. Chicago's new far-left mayor, Brandon Johnson, is working to implement a $25 million program that would subsidize rent costs for illegal immigrants, a plan that comes as Johnson's liberal allies press him to cut funding for other priorities, such as policing. Now, he wants, y'all know I talk in between. This Mickey Ficky wants 25 additional million more for their rent, for the illegal rent, for the illegal immigrants, okay? To help them to get housing. We've got the highest rates of homelessness in Chicago. Around 76% of the homeless is us. living in tents on the street. We got the highest rates of eviction. We're going to get into it. Let's keep going. Johnson is eyeing a plan to provide more than 6,500 illegal immigrants with 6 months of rental assistance, a program that would cost $25 million, according to the Chicago Tribune. Both city and state taxpayers would be on the hook for the plan, given that Johnson is seeking state assistance to fund it. Me speaking. With the black vote, you're now using the black tax dollars to house 6,500 illegal immigrants with 6 months of rental assistance while we suffer the highest rates of homelessness and evictions. Let that sink in. In addition to the rent subsidies, Johnson wants to work with the federal government to expedite work permits for the illegal immigrants so that they can sustain themselves after the subsidies expire. The highest rates of unemployment, underemployment, joblessness, homelessness, evictions. But Johnson, with the black vote, Chicago, that I told you not to vote for, wants the feds, who are already crushing Black America, to assist him in providing them with work permits so that they can sustain themselves in the housing he's planning to spend on them. Come through, Ida B. Wells 2.0. Just keep going. Breathe. Let me read that again. Johnson wants to work with the federal government to expedite work permits for the illegal immigrants so they can sustain themselves after their 6-month rental subsidies on the black tax dollar and the black vote expire. Quote, you can characterize our strategy as ultimately resettlement. Johnson's deputy chief of staff, Christina Pacquiao-Zayas, told the Tribune. Didn't I tell y'all? I don't even think Johnson is one of us, y'all. I told y'all the black vote is being used to genocide us, to erase and replace us with them. I've been telling y'all this. So now you got this Christina Pacquiao-Zayas. This is Hispanic all day. You can characterize our strategy as ultimately resettlement. Johnson's deputy chief of staff is a Hispanic woman. And they're doing this in every facet of Black life. They are just literally genociding us, erasing and replacing us with our vote. Good Lord. Johnson's rental assistance plan for illegal, immigrants comes as American citizens living in Chicago weather a summer surge in shootings. Did y'all hear that? A summer surge in shootings. So we got the highest rates of crimes and murders, the highest rates of joblessness, which is tied to that. Okay? Let's not pretend these Black Americans who are murdering each other, all the gangs, all the violence is not attributable towards institutional systemic Crayola one-to-white supremacist racism, legislating things in such a way that they starve the city of resources, and this is the outcome. So his rental assistance plan for the illegals comes as American citizens living in Chicago weather a summer surge in shootings. During Memorial Day weekend, for example, at least 11 people died in shootings across Chicago, while at least 46 others, including 2 toddlers, were injured. They have declared war on us. Still, the violence has not stopped Johnson's liberal allies from pushing the mayor to slash Chicago's police budget by 9% and eliminate 1,000 vacant police positions. The policy proposals came through a May report from the Action Center on Race and the Economy, a left-wing group that counts a member of Johnson's transition team as a top staffer. So you don't see them calling to defund the police when we are begging for them to defund the police and put that money back into our communities, back into jobs programs, back into housing for our people. But you want to take the black vote and the black tax dollars and spend it on illegals to resettle them when Reconstruction for us has not even happened. These white folks get their panties in a bunch every time we just think of the word reparations. But they're quiet as church mice with us being genocided with immigrants. You don't hear them wailing and gnashing their teeth over how much the city's spending, how much the state is spending. You don't hear all that. But when we speak on a debt that is owed, instead of them coming to the aid and giving us the debt, giving us the reparations that we are long overdue, they are using our reparations to make these illegals American before making us whole. And they've weaponized the black vote to do it. Now, y'all can't get us caught up in a system of a perpetual state of lesser of two evil voting. And now folks want to talk about abandoning the vote altogether when your vote or lack thereof has delivered 282 million of them and counting, only 41 million of us. And the only reason why our numbers stay constant at 13% per the OMB is because as they genocide us, they're replacing us with black immigrants. Let's go. Johnson, whose office did not return a request for comment, has touted Chicago as a sanctuary city that should live by its promise and welcome immigrants, migrants, and refugees. Chicago, your black vote at work to genocide you. Sanctuary means that everyone is welcome here. And as a city, we commit to take care of each other and provide all of our neighbors with the resources they need to thrive, Johnson's campaign site says. But not the resources for Black America, who built Chicago, who founded Chicago to flourish. Republican governors such as Texas Greg Abbott have cited the sanctuary city status as reason to bus illegal immigrants to Chicago, prompting former Mayor Lori Lightfoot to issue an emergency declaration over the surge in migrants just days before she left office in May. Excuse me, for those of you in Black Texas that constantly want to come for me like Abbott is, doing y'all such a service, how about their numbers are now 40% to your 11% in the state of Texas? So please, y'all have no reason or business to be popping your damn collars that y'all got the rhino, Greg Abbott, busing these illegals into Black cities to make sure we're gentrified out of those too. Folks are talking about the Great Migration South. We're gonna be so far south in a minute, y'all, that we're gonna be pushed all together off the fucking map. That's what's happening in real time with the black vote for these Demonrats and the rhinos. My God. For the Johnson administration, however, Chicago's open embrace of sanctuary city policies does not explain the spike in illegal immigrants residing in the city. Instead, U.S. foreign policy is to blame. How about this, family? How in the hell are these people as poor as church mice traveling through several countries to get into the U.S. for quote-unquote asylum? How are they able to afford to do it?
Black Americans can't even afford to leave the state. It costs about $20,000 to resettle within the country. How in the world are these illegals able to do this to the tune of about 5.5 million and counting? I think it's more than that. I think they're fudging the numbers to try to save Joe Crow's face. That's how many have been welcomed into this country by the Joe Crow administration since he entered office. Since y'all voted his ass into office, not me. About 5.5 more million on top of birthright citizenship, on top of DACA. Come on, let's go. Who's paying for them to enter this country? Who is paying for them to cross all them other countries to enter the U.S.? To genocide us? I can't find that story. It cost on the average, I think, about $10,000 to the coyotes. Who's paying the coyotes? If they're entering the country to get low-wage paying jobs and housing and driver license and the right to vote and the right to join the police force, if that's the reason to enter the country is to get economic advantage, how can you afford to even leave where you're at if you're not being aided by this government? Something to chew on, y'all. In many ways, the chickens coming home to roost in terms of failed U.S. foreign policy and what has historically happened in Latin America and the Caribbean in terms of destabilizing governments and economies. Pacquiao Zayas told the Tribune, which then has you pushing people toward the U.S. to flee their countries because of the conditions and seek different outcomes. Johnson, a former teachers union organizer, narrowly defeated opponent Paul Vallas in Chicago's April mayoral runoff election. Lightfoot did not reach the runoff as she finished third in the election's first round. Vallas centered his campaign on a promise to hire more police officers, contrasting that plan with Johnson's 2020 support for the movement to defund police. Excuse me, Vallas is no better. Vallas is no better with respect to this police nonsense. The way to stop what's happening in Chicago is to get jobs to the people. Not just jobs, careers. The ones paying an American wage so they can afford housing. When I was growing up, not many of our people had college degrees. I'm one of the first. Me and my sister are the first to get college degrees in my family. And yet they were able to buy homes. They were able to work for about $20 an hour way back in the Gap at the manufacturing plants that this country shipped out to Chicago, to the Orient, to China. We had American lives then. Look at what is happening due to this government. They have declared war on us with our own damn vote. Johnson, as a union organizer, helped lead a 2019 Chicago teachers union strike, which eventually compelled Chicago public schools to bar U.S. immigration and customs enforcement from entering school buildings without criminal warrants. As a county commissioner, meanwhile, Johnson worked to create the Cook County Public Defender Immigration Unit, which provides legal representation for illegal immigrants and protects them from deportation. So, in one face, he pretends to be about that life. In the next, he's on the back end, helping the illegals not to be deported, getting them representation. And Black Chicago, you didn't know this before you cast your vote for him? Beyond his immigration policies, Johnson campaigned on a so-called transaction tax, which would place a $1 or $2 tax on financial transactions. Just days into Johnson's tenure as mayor, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange threatened to leave the city should Johnson enact the tax hike.
Mr. Johnson has no legal authority to impose a transaction tax on my business, the exchange CEO Terry Duffy said in May. And our leases, we have a language in there that states if there's something that's ill-conceived from the city or the state, that our leases are null and void. We're in a very strong position. If we had to leave, we could leave. The Black vote, hard at work to genocide Black Americans. Family, I want to share with you some other facts surrounding what's going on here. Let me share my screen. I like things to be memorialized here. Welcome, Herb Say. I see you, Edith Thomas. Bill 720. All right now. Who is that? Is that my BB up there? Yep. Welcome, love. Okay, y'all, keep it lit. I'm gonna try to get over here within the next 40 minutes. I'm gonna breeze through and just touch on these headlines and tell you the way I see it. I want to build this story of how the Black vote is genociding us. Okay. Let me share my screen. Hold on one second. Lord have mercy. According to the ABC 7 data team, Chicago's point-in-time count from 2020 to 22, the count of people experiencing homelessness in the city dropped 28% from 5,390 to 3,875. Statewide, that count dropped 12% from 10,431 to 9,212 people experiencing homelessness. That was January 27, 23. Now this number is 6,500 in the city of Chicago. Okay. So an estimate in 2020 was 65,611 people were experiencing homelessness in Chicago. But BJ and his immigrant-run city, Chicago, what used to be Black American Freedmen Negro ran, wants to give $25 million more to house the illegals for 6 months on the Black tax dollars and the Black vote, and then work with the federal government to get them jobs. Hold on, y'all. I'm just bouncing around. Oh, I don't even know if I shared that like I had intended. Sorry, guys. Let me see here. Just a second. I want to share the screen. I'm going to jump around because I want to get this done so I can see what y'all got to say and pray us out. I really came on here to do another spiritual treatment after seeing all this bullshiggity going on in this particular week. As the Black American Freedmen Negro world turns, I had to come here so I could have some consciousness around it. It's too much. Hold on. Can y'all see that? Yep. Renters in Chicago's Black neighborhoods 4 times as likely to face eviction as those in white areas. So while we're struggling to hold on to apartments that we're renting, not owning, BJ wants to give more money to illegals. Stand by. Sharing. Unemployment rates for Chicago's young Black women doubled during the pandemic, a new study finds. Let's get into it. Oh, shoot, y'all. This is getting on my last nerves. A pandemic era rise in youth joblessness and disconnection hit young Black women in Chicago especially hard, almost doubling their unemployment rate, according to a new report from the University of Illinois, Chicago. According to the study, about 45,800 16 to 24-year-olds were not in school, college, nor the workforce in Chicago. Across the state, 177,000 were out of work and out of school in 21. Matthew Wilson, an associate director at the Great Cities Institute at the University of Illinois, and one of the report's authors, said the increase in the jobless rate for Black women aged 20 to 24 from 32% in 2019 to almost 60% in 2021 was the study's most staggering finding. As conditions continue getting better for other people, they continue to get a lot worse for young Black women, Wilson said. Chicago and Illinois have also been much slower to recover from a spike in youth unemployment than the country as a whole, and they've seen racial disparities in jobless rates widen more, the report found. Even as employment rates for young whites and Latinos in Chicago and statewide have bounced back, they have worsened for the Black youth. But everybody wants to scratch their proverbial balls as to why there's more Black on Black crime and murder. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Unemployment on the rise for Chicago's Black youth. Now, let me help you understand something. I'm dealing with Chicago on the heels of BJ and his immigrant posse, his immigrant crime ring, siphoning Black tax dollars and votes to genocide us. I'm just going through and making the case for why we need to weaponize this vote and socialize the suffering. I'm using Chicago. I'm telling you, this has happened in California. It's happened in Michigan. It's happening in Maryland. It's coming to Georgia. When you push us so far south and you still have got these racist practices in hiring and in housing, what is to become of foundational Black American Negro freedmen? What's to become of us? I told y'all, it is genocide. If you can't work, you can't eat, and you can't house yourself. Your family who ain't got much have to become your reparations. And this is happening with the Black vote. Let's keep going. Community leaders are pushing for more funding and employment opportunities in the city and state to keep youth safe and out of trouble. Kamon Johnson, 16, a senior at Westtown Academy, said it's difficult to get interviews for jobs because of his age. Not just because of your age, because you're Black. I just told y'all last week, this Hispanic man who does the hiring for a Korean barbecue spot was a gatekeeper to tell my beautiful, brilliant, college-educated track star of a daughter that she didn't have enough experience as a hostess to tell people their tables are ready. Youth advocates are pushing for more investment in job programs following a new study by the University of Illinois at Chicago that shows a dramatic increase in unemployment among Black youth in Chicago, and especially young Black women during the pandemic. The jobless rate for Black youth in Chicago ages 20 to 24 was 57% in 21, up from 44% in 2019, according to the study by UIC's Great Cities Institute. For Black women in that age group, unemployment nearly doubled from 32 to 59% between 2019 and 21. Jobless rates among Chicago teens remain consistently higher than the national average, with 80% of 16 to 19-year-olds and 87% of Black teens in that age group unemployed in 21 compared to 67% nationally, the study found. It's an urgent matter. And yet Brandon Johnson and his immigrant cronies have spent $211 million, including the $51 million on illegals, and want $25 million more to house and give them jobs so they can sustain themselves. We got tens of thousands of young people in the city and hundreds of thousands across the state, ages 16 to 19 and 20 to 24, who do not have jobs. We saw that happen 3 weeks ago downtown, Jack West, executive director of Alternative Schools Network, said at a news conference Thursday. West was referring to a chaotic weekend in April that turned violent as large groups of young people gathered downtown. The Alternative Schools Network commissioned the study as part of a push for a bill currently moving through the state legislature that would provide $300 million in funding for a statewide youth job program. Not specifically for us. This is a way they get us, family. They do it in the name of a youth jobs program and still don't enforce affirmative action for Blacks in the city. This $300 million will be used to line their pockets and to continue to neglect the Black community, neighborhoods, because we don't even have communities no more in Chicago. They're neighborhoods now. Advocates argue that youth employment is strongly correlated with a decrease in violent crime. Of course! A study from the University of Chicago Crime Lab found that the city's 2012 summer jobs program for at-risk youth reduced violent crime arrests by 43% over 16 months. Don't you tell me they've not legislated our genocide with our Black vote. And if you think it's hard for them to get work, imagine the brothers, the ex-felons. They can't get jobs. They know that there's a direct correlation between the high rates of crimes and murder because of joblessness. They're doing it on purpose, making it a requirement to speak Spanish. We have no social capital at the hiring tables. They're in charge of everything, and we keep voting or withholding the vote to our own genocide. Nothing stops a bullet like a job. Nothing stops violence like a path towards a career. We know that our young people do better when they believe that their future is bright, said Alderman Mike Rodriguez. Having a job saved me. Tania Howell, a 21-year-old senior at Westtown Academy, works as a security officer at the Field Museum and at a clinical health network in Westtown. It took a lot for me to get where I am here today, but I made it through, and being employed helped tremendously, Howell said. Howell says she got into a lot of trouble in high school. With her mother incarcerated and her dad working, she had nothing but time. She said, I got kicked out of school. I roamed the streets. I had fights almost every day. To sum it all up, I got into a lot of trouble because I didn't have anything to do, Howell said. They're setting these babies up to be executed by the race soldiers and to keep the preschool to prison pipeline fed with new, fresh, young Black American freedmen Negro blood as slaves in the private prison industrial complex. Howell said, needless to say that having a job, being employed has saved me. I got to meet some amazing people. I was a part of a group of students who testified before the state's Appropriations Committee in the Illinois Senate in support of the bill that would provide $300 million in funding for 80,000 jobs for youth across the state. We can't do no youth across the state. How's that working for the Black farmers? It is time for everyone to get off the tit. We got to stop giving a damn how other people make it, because that means we're not going to make it. When you're on an airplane, they even tell you put the mask on your damn self first. When are we going to put the mask on ourselves and stop being about everybody? Only a crumbful of blacks will get any fraction of what's to come of this 300 million. They use black faces and black votes and black tax dollars to give everyone the opportunity to flourish as Americans. It never trickles down. Ooh. The bill is sponsored by State Senator Robert Peters and Representative Cam Buckner, both Chicago Demonrats. If passed, students could work 5 to 15 hours a week, earning $15 an hour during the school year. The bill also provides for an 8-week summer program in which students could work 24 hours a week. Youth employment is among the priorities for Mayor-elect Brendan Johnson, who takes office next week. Oh, right. As he sits up here, you see his priority. Even with programs like One Summer Chicago, there's hurdles to getting hired. They offer resume building experiences. It can be hard for young people to get their foot in the door. Kimon Johnson, a 16-year-old senior at Youth Connection Charter School, said that even with the certifications in food handling, forklifting, and CPR, it's been difficult to get an interview. I had a couple of jobs where they set up an interview, but the hiring manager was never there. I feel like because of my age. No, baby. They throw my application away. They don't even look at it. No, sweetheart, it's not your age. I just share with y'all, my daughter couldn't even get a job in a local restaurant that we used to frequent that I will no longer go to because of how they discriminated against her for a goddamn hostess position. She's got job experience in terms of things she's done to build her own coiffures, hair and babysitting and camp counselor, grocery deliveries, things of this nature. But they told her she didn't have enough experience to be a hostess. It has nothing to do with your age. It's happening to all of us, whether we've got resumes up the wazoo across industries, whether we've got education. This is happening in the entry-level positions all the way up and through the executive branches, y'all. He somehow thinks it's because he's 16. No. This is the plight of Black Americans throughout this godforsaken country with our own damn vote. Now, had we voted closed borders the last election cycle, then we would not have all this competition for political office, for college degrees, for jobs. So, baby, what they're doing is they're not just not showing up or throwing away your application. What they're now doing out here and all over the nation, I would, anticipate or project or forecast, or what's the word I'm looking for? What they do is they have you come online to discriminate against you. They will have you do whole videos of yourself before inviting you in for a sit down. That way they can see you. They may love your resume. I'm speaking from experience. For a, city job in retirement planning, you have to go through a series of tests before they even invite you for an online interview. You have nobody in that interview asking you questions. It is set up for you to respond to some type of like AI bot or whatever it is. Like they'll ask the question and then you turn on the camera when you're ready to respond. You can erase the responses or do the responses over. I think that was the city or the county. I think it was LA County for their retirement funds. Yeah, this is what they're doing now. They're getting very clever. If they look at your name, they're not giving you a call. They're not giving you an interview. If they hear your dialect over the phone, you can speak the King's English and they can hear your accent versus an immigrant accent. They're not hiring you. And I'm telling you, this is impacting us at in the public and the private sectors. Out here, a lot of the jobs require you to speak Spanish, even if Spanish is not needed. We have got to go towards careers where we can't be replaced by immigrants and AI. And that means your intellect has got to be on point. AI can do some of the work I do currently, but it can't go into court and argue my cases. It can't do that kind of stuff. So we need to get our young people geared in careers where they can show their acumen. Their acumen can be replaced by immigrants who can't speak the language as well as we do. Now, we do have an issue at the hiring tables, and they would rather hire them with less experience and less ability to even speak the King's English than to put someone like us in position. I had a couple of jobs where they set up an interview, Okay. So this is the way they're discriminating, requiring you to speak Spanish, having you show up at job fairs and throwing your resumes away when they see you come through, having you videotape. You have to videotape your interviews so they can screen you and make sure, no, we're not going to bring that person in. Another thing y'all need to try to do, even though a lot of Black Americans are hiring immigrants, that's your only real shot to get work, is to try to find Black businesses with employees. Most of the Black businesses are sole proprietorships because no one will hire us. Those businesses aren't flourishing. Brianna Jones, an 18-year-old senior at Westtown Academy, said she has several friends who have waited months to hear back from potential employers after filling out job applications. At some of Jones's previous jobs, managers would schedule her to work during school hours, putting her in a difficult position, she said. Work was taking up most of my time when school was really more important than working. But when you make good money and when you have to take care of your family, then you're going to do what it takes, Jones said. Look at the stress and the pressure put on our young people to help provide for their families. When I was growing up, I went to a vocational high school that hired me. We got to choose our majors. Mine was business. I was working at General Motors at 15 years old in the insurance and benefits division. At 13 years old, I was working in radio at Upper Bound programs. At 14, I was working in the theater department as an artistic director. I wrote a play called From Rags to Riches, and it was an all-Black cast. Okay? They paid me to do that out of the funds that were set aside for us in the Upper Bound programs by 15 GM. All the way through high school graduation. I went to school 2 weeks and went to work 2 weeks for pretty much 11 months out the school year. Very little time off. Many of the people that I came up with were able to transition right into the workforce. You had options. You could go to school or you could continue in the job that had you there for your high school tenure. If they liked you enough, they would offer you a full-time position with benefits right out of high school. We had industrial arts, auto mechanics, home economics. This is genocide. Vanessa Ling Young, Director of Youth Services and Violence Prevention for the 20th Ward, says she constantly hears from young people looking for safety and a steady income. Young, the only person in her department, encourages young people to take the initiative in finding and applying to jobs, but the available jobs can be limited. She said, no! The available jobs are not limited. They're not hiring us. Don't tell me it's limited when the majority white and Hispanics are working in Chicago. Stop it. I'm starting to see in the capacity that I work in that young people are starting to look for more vocational things that will lead to longevity, Young said. A lot of these summer programs, they do have a skill attached to them, but it's not always a desired skill. For example, some young women want to learn and have the talent to work in hair and beauty salons, but they don't have the necessary certificates, Young said. She said the city needs to do a better job of incorporating the kinds of jobs youth actually want to do. Youth also want and need jobs throughout the school year, Young said. Johnson, Howell, and Jones work to support themselves or their families. Financial independence is a necessity, they said. I'm 21. So I don't have help from my mom or my dad. So literally everything I do, everything I have on, I bought it myself. Every little thing I do myself, Howell said. Jones and Johnson said they have some financial help from their moms. Still, they work because they know it helps lift the burden on the families. I didn't think I've ever heard one young person just said, I only want to work for the summer. I think that every young person that I've interacted with said they want a job all year round and have stable job to be able to support their family, their interests, their hobbies, Young said. Let's keep going. Welcome to the live. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Okay, so I don't know if I'm gonna get through everything I've got open. I may save that for part 2 for tomorrow morning with Bonnet Sundays. Y'all know I can only come on here on the weekends. And I'm in my bonnet, so I cannot come on the camera. Let me see here. So I'm gonna try to jump around to some of the things I want to show you. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. What's this one on Chicago? City seeks more federal funding to manage migrant influx as some sleep in Chicago police stations. I think we've been over this one already. Hold on, I want to show y'all some other little stuff. More ways in which we're being genocided. A Nigerian is being crowned Miss Juneteenth and is receiving a Juneteenth scholarship. I know my ADOS ancestors are rolling in their graves when asked what Juneteenth means to her. She says nothing about slavery. These are some shameless people. Just shameless, nasty work. Let's listen.
I'm here with Miss Juneteenth 2023 Adobe, and we are going to get to know her a little better with some rapid fire questions. So to start, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at East King International Baccalaureate High School. Go Generals.
And where are you planning to go to college?
I'm planning to go University of Wisconsin-Madison, majoring in global health on the pre-med track.
What is your favorite Juneteenth vendor or thing to do?
My favorite Juneteenth vendor or thing to do is probably listen to the music and dance.
What are 3 characteristics that Miss Juneteenth embodies?
Miss Juneteenth embodies the 3 characteristics of driven, kind, and compassionate.
Perfect. And what does Juneteenth mean to you?
Juneteenth means a lot to me, but number one, it means the chance to impact others around me through my legacy and through showing Black excellence.
I'm here with Miss Juneteenth 2023 Adobe, and we are going to get to know her a little.
Not one mention of what Juneteenth is really about. This is your genocide. Let's keep going. Genocide by the black vote. Let's keep going. Then I'll come over here and see what my co-hosts have to say before I do a spiritual treatment and pray us out. Hi, Herb saying yes. Wow. Hold on. Just a second, y'all. I beg your patience. I have a lot open, and I gotta be selective here. Sacramento Youth Advocate crowned Miss Oakland 2023. Hold on.
More than a year.
Come here, baby. Oh, honey. Hello.
That is the happy reunion between Zeppelin, the German Shepherd, and his owner, Sandra O'Neill. The beloved dog disappeared in October of 2021 from a construction site that he hung around. He was finally found all the way in Kansas.
Sorry, guys.
14
Hold
months
on.
later. How about that? Now he is back home with his loving family.
I don't know how that got embedded in this here. But let's show you Rhiannon Jones. Hold on. This is the erasure and replacement of Black America. Hold on. I got to go back because that was stupidness embedded in that article. This is who Miss Oakland is. Let me try to go back to the article. This is who Miss Oakland is. You know, birthplace to the Black Panthers. This is Rhiannon Jones. Hold on, let me show it to you. This is the genocide of Black Americans. Hold on, y'all. I want to show you a video of this glacier donkey being crowned as Miss Oakland. I used to live in the Bay. It was black when I lived there. Hold on, y'all.
Of that here at Cron 4. And this month, the Bay Area crowned its first, or rather its new Miss Oakland, California. She's the first to be crowned in 10 years and also represents the LGBTQ community. Rhiannon Jones joins me live now. Thank you so much for being here bright and early this morning. And you look gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's such an honor to be here. And this is not early. Early is like, I think 4 a.m. for me. So
goodness.
I was like a sleep in and then drive in. It was great.
Okay, because you mentioned the 4 a.m. call time for you. Is that because you're a flight attendant as well?
It is. So I've done some really early calls. There's, getting up at 3 on the East Coast is very different than getting up at like 7 o'clock here. So
yes,
it's really nice to be here. I was like, a nice little nap.
Oh, well, we're glad you got a little bit of rest. And how does it feel to win the crown? Like, walk us through that moment.
I'm waiting for someone to walk in when someone says, oh, this is Miss Oakland. It doesn't even feel real that this is like a thing. Like when I
Wow.
actually had my crowning moment, I looked at the judges and I said, "Oh my gosh, there's something on my head." You know,
And
it's crazy.
gorgeous, yes.
Yes, thank you.
And you know, you're a graduate of Sonoma State. You volunteer a lot with the county out there. How did you get involved with the Miss Oakland organization?
So I actually, because I'm a flight attendant in Oakland, the way the Miss America organization works is that you have to work, live, or go to school in the area. So because I work in Oakland, I actually live out in Sacramento, but I love the community just so much. So when I heard that Miss Oakland was a competition that was going to be happening, I just knew that, you know, getting to meet so many community members, I really wanted to represent and make a difference in the community. So it's a really fantastic opportunity.
And you've already received some outreach from some nonprofits in Oakland asking you, hey, like, come out and help us.
Right, exactly. So one of those is like the Pitbull Rescue in Oakland. They're actually having their gala tonight, but since I'm on call right after this for work, so I will be doing a photo shoot with them and getting to meet some adorable dogs. That's the best opportunity. I love dogs, and I'm so excited for that.
Oh, that's lovely. And you know, you identify also. I wanted to ask you about this. You identify being a part of the LGBTQ community. Can you tell us a bit about how that shaped your pageant experience?
It actually, one of the reasons that I'm open about being out as a gay woman is because I was actually really scared to compete. I've heard and felt like it would be hard to compete as a gay woman and there would be a lot of judgment in that area. And honestly, there has been. When I actually was Miss Sonoma County a couple of years ago, I did get some backlash because I was out and, you know, people still have opinions about that. But for me, that's why it's so important to be out and to be supporting the community and opening that door, because if I can do it, then maybe someone else who's afraid to do it would step into that.
Let's keep going. Rivish Deepnarian is the 2022 winner of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Scholarship. Ravash Deepnarian, Congressional Black Caucus. So I want to show you another visual of that. Hold on. I want to go back to the other chick. I was noticing all of her tattoos. She's a part of the LGBTQIAXYZ community. What Black young woman has ever been able to win a crown with all that going on? Vanessa Williams, I know y'all remember that back in the Gap. She was in photographs, in racy photos of the queer persuasion, of the LGBTQ persuasion, and you saw the hell they gave her. Didn't they take her crown or something crazy? But this white glacier donkey, nothing looking kind of girl who clearly has, clearly descends from a line of folks who owned slaves in this country. Tons of Joneses out here. She clearly descends from the line of the slave owners, carrying the last name Jones. You would even think by her first name that she was one of us. Rhiannon? That could have been a Black name. Rhiannon Jones? That could have been a Black name. I'm just saying. This is our genocide with our vote. Hold on. I got something else I want to share with you about this Rivash. I'm going to show another picture. Let me stop sharing that. Do any of these people that receive the Congressional Black Caucus scholarships look like Black American freedman Negro? Aren't they supposed to represent us? Well, with the black vote, even the Congressional Black Caucus is full of Pan-Africanists and immigrants. These are the recipients. These are the recipients of the Congressional Black Caucus's scholarships. Our erasure and replacement with the black vote. Right there. Let me keep going. This is the black vote doing this to us. Not mine. Hold on, y'all. Got some more. First Latina queen at a historically black university drew online backlash, but she didn't back down. No. She's got the wind beneath her wings. After a TikTok video featuring Miss Coppin State, Keelan Perez went viral. Dozens of posts questioned representation, race, and legacy. But at the school, the reality is different. I'm going to leave that up while I come over here and do this. When Keelan Perez became the first Latina to be crowned Miss Coppin State University in Baltimore, she was thrilled. She had been named the university's Miss Sophomore and Miss Junior previously and was eager to continue representing the school with pride as the 91st Miss Coppin State University Queen. But after a TikTok video she posted went viral, she received backlash, including harassment from online critics who said the role should be given to a black woman since Coppin State University is a historically black university known as an HBCU. Quote, I never considered stepping down, Perez told NBC News. She applied for the high-profile role knowing she might face some backlash, but ran unopposed and was officially crowned in October. Quote, I stayed firm in my decision of continuing to serve my institution that has poured so much into me for the past 4 years, she said. The original TikTok video featured Perez and Mr. Coppin State and their royal court counterparts at Morgan State University, another HBCU in Baltimore, recreating a scene from the Zoolander movie, which was a trending meme at the time on the platform. The group recorded the lighthearted video while at Mr. HBCU King's Leadership Conference and competition held in St. Louis. Let me show you that picture. Hold on. Can y'all see that? I'll keep going. This is Mr. and Miss Coppin, Keelan Perez, and Traquan Hayes. The video has since gathered more than 430,000 views, more than 78,000 likes, and had more than 2,700 comments before Perez turned off the comment section because of the barrage of hateful messages. Dozens of videos and posts on the other platforms, such as Instagram and Twitter, also surfaced, raising larger questions of representation, race, and legacy, and debating whether a non-Black person being crowned contradicts HBCU culture. Perez, who turns 23 on Saturday, said the backlash online escalated as some of the comments turned vulgar, with some even suggesting she harms herself. Perez took to Instagram to address the controversy and issued a statement. The post received more than 1,000 comments with divided opinions. They're going to have to start removing Black in titles now, one commenter said. while another said the majority supports and stands with you. You're doing amazing, sweetheart. Continue serving your campus with grace. Kalena Slaughter, 20, a junior majoring in English at the University of Louisville in Kentucky, first learned about the controversy surrounding Perez from a different TikTok video. Slaughter explained why she thinks a role like Miss Coppin State University should go to a Black person. She said roles like the royal court positions at HBCUs are crucial in representing students who have been historically underserved at predominantly white institutions. The reason why these people are so important for them to be Black is so that they can have Black voices in spaces where they were historically not allowed. They're trying to show that we are educated, that we can hold these positions, that we can have the same thing as white people, anybody else, Slaughter said. When you take those spaces away, you are taking away an additional voice for our community that you can have on a national space and allowed to represent our community as a whole, Slaughter continued. Yet Perez says she's received support from peers, professors, and university administrators. Perez noted that the controversy is a stark contrast from her time as Miss Sophomore and Miss Junior. She didn't receive any backlash then. She said, sweetie, that's because we didn't know about it. Justin Evans, 23, president of Coppin Student Government Association, said Perez has our full support. I feel like it's bonded us together even more than before because we're already a small institution. So all this backlash, he said, just helps us realize how we got, in a sense. The campus life has actually been up. Evans, who is Black and Mexican American, said Perez has been one of the more impactful queens the school has had yet. He also said Perez has been featured throughout campus and on the school's website since her time as Miss Sophomore and Miss Junior. Jawad Williams, 20, who is Mr. Junior at Coppin, said about the controversy, I think sometimes people just get wrapped up in the idea like an HBCU is just Black people only and nobody else is allowed to go to the school. Oh my God, this doof is here. This is the problem, the whitewashing of our brilliant minds at these HBCUs. First, Joe Crow giving the commencement speech at Howard. Now this, oh my God. Well, I go back to what the young lady said. We have no place else to be Black and excellent but the HBCUs. Now Joe Crow has reduced what Trump gave, I think it was $46 billion to the HBCUs. He reduced it to around $2 billion and expects us to fight with these other groups and expect us to allow them access to our campuses in order to get any federal funding. The HBCUs have to be integrated in order to get federal funding. This would never happen to the over 500 Hispanic institutions. You will never see them crown us Miss Nothing, Mr. Nothing. This is a Black vote. Let me stop sharing that. I think I got one more. Let me find it. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. Here are the Africans who are over the Black Student Union at Towson. Another university that has a lot of Black Americans that attend. I don't even know if Black Americans are attending these colleges anymore. Like, they can't afford it. And you've got Africans who are over the BSU, the Black Student Union at Towson. They've got their colors. These are the colors they keep misrepresenting at Juneteenth. You see them here. I told you guys, I'll repeat, the OMB, and I'm paraphrasing, said that as they're genociding us, the reason why our numbers are sustained is because they are bringing in nuclear Black immigrants with nuclear families intact and money to replace us. That's why our numbers stay 13%. They can control our numbers by genociding us, incarcerating us, and giving them access to everything we have. Everything that once was us for a short time. Let me see what y'all got to say about it. I got to get out of here shortly. What time is it? 9:15. You know what? I want to do these couple more. I'm not going to really delve into them too much, but I want to kind of round this out with some other things that I saw that were very alarming, touch on them, and make them memorialized in this particular broadcast. This is an annual review, Black Immigrants and the Changing Portrait of Black America. Todd G. Hamilton, Department of Sociology and Office of Population Research, Princeton University. I want to just go to a part that I read down here. The article, okay, I want to just read this part. The article comprises 3 substantive sections. First, I examine the changing birth country composition of the Black immigrant population that arrived in the U.S. from 1900 to 1930 and review the literature on the social integration of Black immigrants during the early 20th century. Second, I review the literature that demonstrates how selective migration and disparate pre-65 histories have shaped contemporary disparities between Black immigrants and Black Americans. And third, I discuss the implications of Black immigration for understanding the evolution of racial disparities in the 21st century. Your replacements. I just told you that supports what, yes, I have an email, Chris Q. It's scrolling in the bar below, therepperspect@gmail.com. And it's in the description box. I want to just touch on a couple more things and I'll come to your comments, co-host. I'll make time for that for sure. My apologies for all these crazy ads. It's just crazy. These pop-ups are out of control, insane to the membrane. I cannot. Immigration drove white Asian population growth in U.S. last year. So this is what they're doing, family, to bolster their numbers because their sperm is defective and their women can't hold on to their babies, nor do they want to procreate anymore, I don't think. So what they do is, as they did with the Irish and the Italians and the Jews, and even folks darker than us that have money because the color of Crayola wanton white supremacy in the country is green. If you got the money, then you've got the capacity to identify as white, which bolster the resources that go to them. Immigration drove white Asian population growth in the U.S. last year. That's why you see them getting our reparations and protections. Without immigration, the white population in the U.S. would have declined last year. Immigration also propelled the expansion of the Asian population, which was the fastest growing race or ethnic group last year in the U.S., while births outpacing deaths helped propel growth in Hispanic, Black, tribal, and Hawaiian populations. Population estimates released Thursday by the U.S. Census Bureau show what drove changes in different race, ethnic, and age groups last year, as well as since the start of COVID case spread in the US in April 2020. I've often told you guys that the pandemic was designed to wipe Black Americans off the monopoly board completely. It was here to finish the job of Barack Obama when he bailed out Wall Street and the banks that pretty much racketeered off of those adjustable rate mortgages. They gambled on those and lost, and Barack Obama took our hard-earned tax dollars to bail them out and did not put regulations on the banks nor audits to ensure that they were lending back to us what they stole from us, with the highest rates of foreclosures, thanks to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, with adjustable arms that they gave predominantly to who? Black people who were affixed on the American dream. There before the grace of God go I, that I didn't get caught up and swept in an adjustable. But I had a young Black African American who helped me get into my first home, okay? With a fixed rate. That, thank God, and a $25 billion settlement from a lawsuit against the major banks for wrongful foreclosure on Black homes. My home was spared from foreclosure. But you can trust and believe Bank of America was trying it. As I was going through a loan modification, they were jointly trying to foreclose on my property. Because you literally had to stop payments to qualify for the adjustable loan modification. And when you did that, they strung it out for 2 years only to start sending the foreclosure notices. That's what they were doing to us under Barack Obama as he bailed out the banks and Wall Street, who gambled on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to genocide Black Americans. This pandemic was designed and manufactured to do the same. And it's done a pretty damn good job of it. We suffer the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, housing discrimination, evictions. That's what it's done. Okay. Back to the text. As well as since the start of the pandemic in the U.S. in April 2020, the country had grown to 333.2 million people by the middle of last year, a 0.4% increase over the previous year, according to the 22 population estimates. For white residents in the U.S., immigration drove the expansion. Without it, the white population, including those who identify as more than one race, would have dropped last year by more than 85,000 people, by more than 85,000 people, instead of growing meagerly by more than 388,000 residents, or 0.1%. When the focus is narrowed to white people who aren't Hispanic and identify only with a single race, there was a decline of more than 668,000 people in the white population, since the number of immigrants couldn't overcome the steep drop in natural decrease that came from deaths outnumbering births last year. Population growth is propelled in two ways: through immigration and natural increase when births outpace death. The data released Thursday speak to the complexity of the nation's ever-shifting population patterns and reinforce a level of nuance not always reflected amid the political debate over immigration. Immigrant and refugee communities bring talent, culture, and a set of skills that are needed in our communities, said Ari Olbenson, president and CEO of the International Institute of St. Louis, which helps newcomers adapt to life in the U.S. Since the start of the pandemic in April 2020, the white population has grown by 391,000 people, all of it driven by immigration. So now you see why these white folks don't cry or bemoan or complain about immigration. It's helping to keep their numbers up. They're just making these immigrants white. I don't care how blue black you are. And when you bolster their numbers for whiteness, you bolster the resources that they continue to line their pockets with while we are left to die on the vine. This is why I'm telling you, voting to close the borders is a Black American freedman Negro tangible. When folks want to come for me about Donald Trump's mean tweets and how he's a mean racist, and I'm asking you, what policies did he institute that are more diabolical than mass immigration and the private prison industrial complex, the author of the 94 crime bill? They can't say anything but get caught up in their emotionalism. When I tell them Trump's handle on the border was helpful to us, folks want to nail me to the cross for even suggesting that we weaponize this vote for closed border candidates only. Party be damned. This is the Black vote at work, or the lack thereof, to genocide us. Let's keep going. I'm almost done. I'm coming, co-host. So there was an article that came out about how Hispanics in the state of Texas outnumber non-Hispanic whites. I mean, by a small percentage, but they do. But the bigger story is how much more they outnumber us. That's the story they're not telling you. Hold on. This is the story. Hold on one second. Where's it at? That ain't it. Just a second, y'all. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. So they want to sit up here and talk about that, which is a very small percentage, and white folks got all the wealth. It don't matter to them that the immigrants, the Latinas, pretty much are on par with their numbers. Those Latinas don't have the money white folks got. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get to it. Just a second, family. Here we go. I want to memorialize this here. In 2021, 40.2% of the population in Texas was Hispanic and Latina American of any race. 39.3% were non-Hispanic white. 11.6% of Texas was Black or African American. That's the story. As folks want to keep telling me and bragging that Abbott is busing illegals over to demon-radically ran cities to genocide us is what he's doing. He's also done it to his own state. The story is not that Latinas are 40% and the whites are 39%. When the whites control the state, the whites control the politics, the whites control the economics, the whites control the income. The story is we're losing even in Texas. Now, they got 3 times, 4 times as much as we got here in California. So you're still sort of kind of better off, but you're still going to run into the same issues. you're out-moneyed, you're outgunned, you're outmanned. Equals you're out-politicked. And this is why you see them in control of our reparations conversation all over the country, even on the federal level, to make sure we don't get a damn thing. The black vote has put Crayola wanton white supremacists in charge of the country. And as my intro suggests to you, if you thought it was hard being second class in the country our ancestors built with their lives, you ain't seen or felt or heard nothing yet until you're fifth class. Whites, Latinas, Asians, black, fourth class. Stand by. Let me come over here and just see what y'all got to say. Let me see. If there's anything else I want to show you. Okay. This is the last thing, then I'm going to come over and read y'all's comments. But there's hope. That's why we got to lean in. There is hope. Biden bleeding support with black voters as 2024 campaign heats up poll. Just over half of black voters said they'd likely support Biden in 24. Now, I know Phil from the African Diaspora Show said it's more like 74% of us are in support. I'm holding on to my mustard seed that the messaging I've been putting out along with Phil, along with TD Hip Hop Media, Jason Black, I'm prayerful that our messaging on this issue is waking black folks up, and we're actually down to about 50%. My bigger hope and prayer is that my Black American Freedmen Negro protest voter strategy for closed border candidates is what they're choosing to do instead of staying home. Because we've been staying home to our own genocide. We've been voting blue, no matter damn who, to our own genocide. President Joe Crow is bleeding support with black voters heading into the 24 campaign season, according to a recent poll. While the president maintains black voter support, it has sharply declined since taking office and comes with much less enthusiasm. And this is why I keep going. Even though it's hard, I know I'm making a difference. I know I'm making a difference in the only commodity we've got left, the black vote. According to the Associated Press, around 58% approve of his job handling. Just 41% of black adults said they wanted Biden to run for a second term, while only 55% said they would likely support him in the general election. These figures starkly contrast with his first few months in office, when 9 out of 10 black voters approved of the job he was doing. They also fall well below Demonrats' overall sentiment, which showed that 81% would definitely or probably support Biden if he were the nominee. They lie like rugs. I don't believe nothing coming out of a Demonrat mouth, nor a rhino. Honestly, I feel like right now America is in a state of emergency. Destiny Humphreys, a South Carolina State University student, told the publication, we need some real change. Demonratic kingmaker Clyburn, all in for Biden 24, issues warning against primary challengers. Others in South Carolina, the Demonrats' first presidential primary state, felt differently. Joe Crow has proven himself in the last few years, and this niggerants will be voting for him in the next election, said La Jolla Broughton, a lobbying and public affairs specialist. Sounds immigrant to me. The Palmetto State proved pivotal for Joe Crow during the 2020 election and helped swing his fortune and put him on the path toward the White House. Now the conflicting views of Black voters may prove troublesome during the general election. He wouldn't have been president without us, Courtney McLean, a recent graduate of the University of South Carolina who voted for Joe Crow in 2020, told the publication. For people to vote and to be eager to vote, you have to actually want to vote for the person. Ace Conyers, a 22-year-old at South Carolina State, added on the Joe Crow enthusiasm front. South Carolina Demonrat James Clyburn funneled 6 figures from campaign funds to family last cycle, filing show. In South Carolina, longtime Demonrat Representative James Clyburn largely drove Joe Crow's trajectory and arguably was the most critical figure for his 2020 campaign. Joe Crow later returned the favor. After winning the election, he nominated the congressman's daughter, Clyburn Reed, a former teacher, as federal co-chair of the Southeast Crescent Regional Commission in 2021. In December of that year, the Senate narrowly approved her for the position, which works to relieve economic hardship in the southeastern United States. I'm all in for Joe Crow, Coon Clyburn told CBS Robert Costa earlier this year. I think he's demonstrated in these 2 years that he is deserving of re-election, and I do believe he will be re-elected irrespective of who the Republicans put up. And you are a fool. Just like the fools, let me stop. Just like the fools that thought Crooked Hillary was going to win. Like I said, my only prayer is that we haven't gotten ourselves caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser two evil voting and now decide to stay home after we've delivered 282 million of them and counting, and our numbers have stayed at 13%. Let's see what my co-hosts have to say about it. Hold on, guys. Oh, I got to do this last one. My apologies. I'm sorry. It's a lot. I'm sorry, family. But it has to be memorialized here. Can y'all see that? Yep. I'm going to keep it there and read it on the next. Let me just get through all this, child. My apologies, family. I'll be over, I promise. I may only have 20 minutes or so, but it's got to be said and seen and shown. And I don't feel like dealing with it after this. I want it all here, given the title of the broadcast. HUD changes vouchers easier for illegal to obtain. Hold on, guys. I'm so sick of this. The Department of Housing and Urban Development recently made changes to its emergency housing voucher program that makes it easier for illegal immigrants to receive free housing on the taxpayer's dime. Excuse me. Aren't Black Americans all over the country having a difficult time getting vouchers for HUD? Let's just see. How landlords discriminate against housing voucher. A mask for racial discrimination, how housing voucher programs can hurt the low-income families they're designed to help. The Stay Lodge hotel room in Charlotte, North Carolina, where Shauna Lee lives with her 3-year-old daughter, Lavi, isn't much to look at. There's a queen-size bed pushed up against the wall, a mini fridge in the corner, and a toddler's pink kitchen place set purchased for $5. The most valuable item in the room sits atop a counter in a plastic sleeve, an unused federal housing choice voucher. In theory, that little piece of paper would contribute around $512 for a $1,012 two-bedroom for Lee and her daughter. covering the difference between 30% of her income and a unit's market rate. But Lee, a Black American freedman Negro, 34, can't find a new landlord willing to accept it. The last two places that took her voucher failed routine inspections, which meant the local housing agency could no longer pay, its portion of the rent. So by no fault of her own, Lee was evicted twice. Since then, she has spent nearly $500 in application fees, applying to at least 10 places, hoping someone would accept her voucher, which used to be known as Section 8 funding, but no luck. Quote, I feel like I'm wasting my time calling because as soon as you say Section 8, click, you get a dial tone or you get an attitude, says Lee, who usually works a double shift Thursday through Sundays as a waitress at the Waffle House. She makes $2.13 per hour plus tips and pays Stay Lodge $200 weekly rate. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, she says. Getting a housing choice voucher in the first place can feel like hitting the lotto. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development allocates more than $20 billion each year to local housing agencies, but that's not enough to provide vouchers to all who need them. The Urban Institute estimates 25.7 million households are eligible for housing assistance. The average family gets stuck on a wait list for a year and a half, but many exceed 7 years, according to a 2016 National Low-Income Housing Coalition report. Some cities, including Charlotte, have temporarily stopped letting people add their names to the wait list altogether. I've been on Section 8 waiting list since I had my first daughter, said Lee's sister, Shanila Lee, who relies on temporary local housing subsidy resembling the federal housing choice voucher program. She's about to be 12 this year. I got a couple things to add to this. And they just went in my head and left. Let's go back. This is the way they're genociding us. They want us to come out and cape for abortions because you're either going to abort and have a quick death, murder of your children, or they're going to die a slow death under these conditions. This sister is paying $800 a month to stay in this lowbrow hotel because she's being discriminated against because she's Black American freedman Negro. And they will not take a housing voucher that could decrease her rent. This is the same bullshiggity that was happening out here in California when Maxine Waters was screaming on the Black folks to go home. Let's look it up and memorialize it here. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. Hold on, y'all. I got to get off this channel because I got to go to my other channel. Just a second. Let me do it over there because I'm running the live in my Reparations Perspective channel. Let's see here. Look at this bull. Let me stop. I'll bring this back up so I can finish that. Hold on. I gotta memorialize this bullshit here. I have to. Hold on.
To go home. And I want
we don't got no home. Okay. That's why we here.
Miss Matt, can you talk? Miss Waters, can you talk? We gonna go too. Just a moment. Nothing is going to happen here today. Nothing is going to happen anymore today.
So what about all these names?
What we gonna?
Telephone numbers that the can you see working hard to help you?
That's why I'm here, and so I will be downtown with Lassa. I will get the housing authority. That's why they came out here today. I made them come out here.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I'm gonna go.
And you need to know why they're failing, because Blanca Jimenez repeated, we gave her several meeting requests for you concerning this in Lassa for years.
Blanca Jimenez.
And that is
in charge of the housing vouchers here in LA.
There's nobody in Washington who works for their people in
harder than I do.
I believe you.
I don't want to hear that.
I believe you. So can we finish that?
No.
Work with me.
No.
Work with me so we can house people. That's what
I do every day.
Congressman, we're just, in case you can't see, showing video of you standing on the aisle and shaking.
Let's see that again.
I want everybody to go home. And I want
We don't got no home. That's why we here. Miss Miss Waters, can you tell we gonna go to?
just a moment. Nothing is going to happen here today. Nothing is going to happen anymore today.
So what about all these names?
What we gonna
telephone
well,
numbers
that's
that can you see that working hard to help you?
That's why I'm here. And so I will be downtown with Lassa. I will get the housing authority. That's why they came out here today. I made them come out here. And
this is the Black vote. Black Chicago homeless man is told he has to wait so illegals can get housing. I saw this on when they were screaming down at that town hall meeting in South Shore. Let's see here if they have a video. Hold on, guys. Let me share this. Just a second, family. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Welcome to the live. This is our reparations, hard at work to genocide us. I'm not going to read all of this, but I do want to memorialize it to help support my position on how the Black vote is being weaponized against us to genocide us. Hold on. Make myself a little bigger here. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys, it's only me. It's only me, okay? So I don't have a big fancy production team or nothing like that. It's me on a Saturday morning in my bonnet, seeking to educate the people about this vote for closed border candidates to do two things: punish the Demonrats for their intentional neglect and ethno-genocidal plans for Black Americans, freedmen, Negroes, and to close the borders, and to put a moratorium on legal migration here, okay? And to deport all these illegals day one, like Trump has promised. Chicago residents condemned local leadership last week for plans to house illegal immigrants in a shuttered high school in the neighborhood. So y'all know about that because I've already reported on it. Hold on. Okay, one resident could be seen demanding that for every homeless immigrant you bring in, that they also administer to one of the homeless individuals in our community, arguing, I think that would be fair. Where's this money coming from? Another attendee said, migrants don't pay taxes. I understand helping people, but you have to start with your own. Charity starts at home. Why don't we have those resources with what's happening here? One resident even shouted, build the wall, make a border. Okay, so I don't see that comment from that gentleman. It was actually in a video. But I want to go back to how they got all this money now to make sure they give housing vouchers and have been doing this, family. This ain't new. Hold on one second. I'm going to go back to that title so I can keep reading from that article. Hold on, guys. Can y'all see that? Just a second, you can't. Can y'all see it now? No, not real well. Hold on.
As CEO of Cash Backing, it's my duty to help people. I don't believe in taking breaks.
Vacations book.
Horrible timing.
Shut his
Cash
crown
Backing,
up.
that is. 5% on
Can't
travel.
stand Kevin Hart.
You gotta knock. Earn big.
We ain't got no time to be shucking and jiving when the line is on the freaking line. I ain't got no time for that. Ain't nothing to laugh about right now. So basically, this has been happening. I just showed you Maxine Waters telling the homeless out here to go home. We ain't got no vouchers for you. Blanca Jimenez, they are running shit down here. They're running the politics. They're running housing. They're running any place where we need assistance. And they're giving it to their people, not us. I share with you guys about one of my seniors who can barely survive on Social Security. And she was told no to food stamps, or they call it a Cow Fresh program out here. She was told no. And she can barely survive on Social Security because it takes about $120K a year to just be comfortable out here. If you make it less than that, you're going to struggle. That's how expensive it is out here. So what they're talking about here with these HUD changes was back in 21. It makes housing vouchers easier for illegals to obtain, not us. Let me keep reading from the article. Hold on. And then I'll come to your comments. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The American Rescue Plan. Oh, my God. That Joe Crow signed in March awarded $5 billion for emergency housing vouchers to be distributed to people experiencing homelessness, victims of human trafficking, and survivors of domestic violence. The money is in addition to the more than $80 billion Congress spent for housing in response to the pandemic. The vouchers can be used to pay for any housing unit where the landlord will accept them. Recipients pay 30% of their income toward rent, and the remainder is picked up by the government. Tenants who do not have an income need not pay anything except Black American Freedmen Negro. HUD earlier this month provided operating requirements for the allocation of approximately 70,000 emergency housing vouchers, which removed the requirement of providing proof of citizenship to join the program. HUD is consequently waiving the requirement to obtain and verify Social Security number documentation and documentation evidencing eligible non-citizen status before admitting the family to the EHV program, wrote Dominique Bloom, General Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public and Indian Housing. The letter states the requirement was waived due to the difficulty individuals and families experiencing homelessness may encounter in obtaining the documentation, and also points to the challenges presented by the pandemic, despite HUD Secretary Marsha Fudge announcing earlier this month that public housing facilities would be conducting mass vaccinations and screenings. Now, we got the mass vaccinations, the mass venom, right? That's killing us and injuring us. We're the ones that were dying disproportionately from the COVID. But we are included. This is what these Demonrats are doing. I don't want you getting amnesia when it comes time to vote in 24. Let's not pretend it only started happening with Trump. That's what I don't want. These are the Demonrats weaponizing the black vote against us to erase and replace us with them, making them American before we're made whole. While we struggle to survive, highest rates of homelessness in the country, and they're telling blacks no, and they can't get through on the phone and have to live in their cars while working these menial jobs. This is the Demonratic vote. This is Joe Crow who said he'd have your back. Hard at work to stab you in the back. They love to weaponize our never-ending Holocaust to line their own pockets and to give these immigrants consideration over us with our own reparations and protections while telling us no to reparations. But yes to our genocide. And the black vote is guilty. And the black vote being withheld is guilty. Let me go to, I'm just going to leave that up there, y'all. I'm just going to leave that over there. Okay, let's go see what my co-hosts have to say about it. I'm sorry, y'all. I listen, I had to get through it. And I'm not even done. Okay? I'm not even done, but I've been here damn near 2 hours. And I'm going to try to take the most pertinent comments. They're all important. So if you're watching the archives, you must turn on the chat. The immigrants are coming back for their land with the Demonrats' help. Excuse me. That's not. You're right, Lizzo. You're right about that. But they need it for cheap labor. They needed to replace us in executive level positions. They needed to bolster their numbers to keep resources funneled to their pockets. And this is all in the name of our genocide. But it's not our fault that the Latinas or the Hispanics or whomever, the Spaniards, sold the country for pennies on the dollar. That ain't our monkey nor our circus. So I don't give a damn. I know that we built this itch, and now they get to come over here and be made American before we're made whole. That's what I know. The Roman Empire ended the same exact way. Thank you, BB. Importation of illegal economic migrants. Okay, I got the glasses now. Hold on, I shouldn't be struggling. The Roman Empire ended the same exact way. Importation of illegal economic migrants and raising taxes on citizens. Politricians underestimated the past, didn't learn nothing. You know what? They say that this is, what do they call it? I can't even think of the term, but this is, the New World Order. That's what this is. It's all by design. The New World Order. That's what we're swept up in. They used to call that conspiracy theory. But isn't it amazing how all conspiracy theories end up being true? Hi, Edith. She says Chicago mayor getting paid to that. Just like Atlanta has a black mayor authorizing Cop City. They're trying to kill us. We have 100,000 missing black children, and no one is talking about it. Edith, you said a mouthful there, baby. And you're absolutely correct. Sex trafficking, organ harvesting, preschool to prison pipeline. It is genocide by no other name. When Putin devalues the dollar, white supremacists going to come down viciously on black people. They already are. Won't be nothing new for us. Root trackers, then oops, and accidentally 6 billion more to neo-Nazi Ukraine. Speak truth to power, fam. Exactly, 6 billion more. Let's look that up real quick to see how much have they given Ukraine. How much
has the Biden administration given to Ukraine to date? Since the war began, the Joe Crow administration and the U.S. Congress have directed more than $75 billion in assistance to Ukraine, which includes humanitarian, financial, and military support, according to the Kiel Institute for the World Economy, a German research institute. But no money for reparations. You know, politric folks are making money off of that, including Joe Crow. Let's talk about that real quick. Joe Biden got $5 million, I think. Oh, who is calling? I can't do this right now. Let me silence that, y'all. Sorry. Joe Biden allegedly paid $5 million by Burisma executive as part of a bribery scheme, according to the FBI document. How much bribery money has Joe and Hunter Biden received? Hunter Biden dodges money laundering. He dodged that. Hold on one second, y'all. These are the Demonrats. Let's not get amnesia. Hunter Biden, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to read the header. Hunter Biden won't be charged with money laundering, bribery, or trafficking after slap on the wrist plea deal. Hunter Biden appears to have ducked other possible charges, including money laundering, bribery, and human trafficking as part of a plea agreement he entered into with the federal prosecutors that is likely to result in him serving no jail time. The president's 53-year-old son will plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay his federal income taxes on at least $3 million he earned from overseas business dealings. And he will participate in a pretrial diversion arrangement for a felony firearms charge after he lied about his drug use on a gun purchasing form in 2018. How many of our brothers are doing federal time on weapons charges? Hold on. Let me go back. He got his laptop. Okay, let's see here. House Republicans allege Biden family members received millions in payments from foreign entities and new bank records reports. House Oversight Chairman James Comer laid out new details to support allegations that members of Joe Crow's family, including his son Hunter, received millions of dollars in payments from foreign entities in China and Romania, including when Joe Crow was vice president, according to a memo obtained by CNN. But he's going to have y'all's back, right? Mm-hmm. Woo, child, the ghetto. We need to own and control our own communities. We have no more community, Miss Edith. We have been gentrified and immigrated out. Immigrated out. I don't even know if that's a word. We have neighborhoods barely. All these sanctuary city Muppets have been put in place strategically to do this, and also will take the blame as fall guys for the fallout of financial mismanagement and political upheaval. They're not going to, I think that they'll be protected from that, BB, because usually the pattern in this country is they don't break their tools until they're done using them. So until they get these illegals citizenship to neutralize the black vote, akin to what they've done to us economically, they still need these garden tools in place, these black immigrant and Latina immigrant garden tools. They need them in place to help them finish the genocide of us
with the only commodity we've got left, the black vote, barely, because it's being used to erase and replace us. The only way blacks will be able to make it is to show up in Obama-style numbers and vote for closed borders like I've been screaming for the last couple of years. Other than that, if we deliver Joe Crow's administration another 4 years, it's a wrap for Black Americans as we know it. It's done. It's over. It's the end of the line. Meanwhile, how are city and state fiscal budgets being used for illegal aliens, economic migrants allowed to utilize these funds? Federal government, perhaps, definitely not state government money. Listen, they paid no taxes. They're getting paid unemployment. They're being paid through Social Security, the feds, the city, the state. Thank you. Keep doing your thing. Thank you, Bill 720. I appreciate the vote of encouragement because I don't understand why these numbers ain't 100,000. So I appreciate those of you who tune in, those of you who like, share, subscribe, those of you who contribute to the channel on Cash App. I really appreciate your support. Sometimes I feel like it's in vain, but then I remember I got a gorgeous, soon-to-be 19-year-old that I've got to keep screaming on these issues to make sure she's got a snowball's chance in hell to make a life for herself and her family, her future family. I have to keep going. The reason why Joe Crow and Demonrats want them in here is because these Spanish countries support and practice anti-Black racism towards Black Latinas. Plus, they will work for low wages. True statement, Miss Edith. They are only importing anti-Black American freedmen, Negro, Crayola, wanton white supremacist racists into the country. Yep, they're over here to do the same to us. I'll try to bring some of that tomorrow about some of the heinous, horrific things these unvetted illegals are doing in this country. I've touched on a little bit in some of the prior lives, but if I may be here tomorrow with the Sunday morning bonnets conversation with you all. But this kind of stuff just upsets me through and through. Okay. Oh. Wow. Okay. Greetings. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm going to try to get through this. Lord, we over 2 hours. Per a 21 CNN article titled Migrants from 3 countries paid $2.2 billion trying to reach the U.S. Most of it went to smugglers, big business. Excuse me, Bill 720, they don't have that kind of money. Who is giving them? I'm asking who's giving them $2.2 billion to pay these smugglers. I believe the government is giving these, these smugglers. I believe that they're the ones that's paying them. These people don't have a pot to piss nor a window to throw it out of. Do you see them people wading through the water and mountains and over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go to the U.S.? Do you see them? Do they look like they got $2.2 billion between them? This government is funding this. I haven't found under which bill or which legislation or which pool of money, but this is our reparations being spent to help them get into this country. They bring fentanyl drugs, feeding it to their children. People in New York City are overdosage. Well, I know that fentanyl is being laced in even Black American drugs. That one brother from The Wire, I can't recall his name. I didn't watch that show, but he died from 3 illegals lacing his drugs with fentanyl. He died from a fentanyl overdose. Quite a few other Black celebrities. God only knows how many of the Black layperson have died from the same thing. Those 3 countries are Haitians, Venezuelan, and Nicaraguan, and surrounding countries that pool in there to leave as a base. Wow, Chi-Town is right. They voted for that, fam.
They should have just paid us our due. Miss Seeley said it best. We need freedmen agencies in each state and have a job placement department. This is redunculous. We are American citizens, family. And if you get the freedmen agencies all throughout the country, you got to make sure that the coon and artists aren't in control. Like the Amos Browns, who sat up here and was opposed to cash repair for the San Franciscans. Remember that? I went over that with you all. NAACP San Francisco came out with a letter condemning cash and wanted more remedial programs, remedial education, public housing, and more just over broke jobs. Hi, Herb saying, nice to see you, family. They always talk about COVID, but they have an open door policy, reparations now. Edith Thomas, you hit it on the head, fam. They're not requiring that they jab, but we couldn't even get employment if we refused to jab out here in the state of California. If you wanted to work in the public sector and most private companies, they were jabbing the kids at school, or your kids couldn't go to school. I was just speaking with this Asian guy on my job who moved out of LA because he and his wife took the jab, and his little 5-year-old was being forced on a jab or would not be allowed in the schools. But they're not requiring not one of these illegals who's crossing the border to take that jab. Has anybody heard from Jamie Foxx? Anyway, let's keep going. I'm noticing the biggest problem is lack of organizational development. Organizational agencies set to defend against all these structural racist faucets. Well, family, that's because we don't engage politically. We don't engage. We don't have critical mass on these issues. It's like we're speaking in silos oftentimes. But at least my daughter will know I was on the right side of history. She'll be able to look at these archives when I transition and see her mama fighting for her and our individual line as well as the collective. We need to get jobs in healthcare, teacher, LPN, nurses, entrepreneur. That's very true. But we need to be in jobs. We also need political office. We need grassroots to take it over. Local and state. We need that grassroots kind of representation. You can't wait for these duplicitous POS to supply employment. At this point, being lackadaisical as being casual causes you to become a casualty. Les Brown, many of us didn't protect our affirmative action programs. You're right, fam. Now we are being challenged with underclass influx of illegal economic migrants. Take note, my criticism is for improvement and collective uplift. So please stay out of your feelings when read my critical analysis. Amen, fam. I went to a very good upper bound program that I almost didn't qualify for, and yes, it impacted me for the better. I'm disappointed to hear that these programs are not in full operation to help our youth. This is what happens when you don't protect your line from culture vultures and vipers. These duplicitous POS West Africans are both. Come through, baby. Nowadays, you have to have 3 streams of income to survive. Yes, family, Edith, because they don't pay us commensurate with the illegals, commensurate with the immigrants and the white folks. Asians make the most, about 80,000 median income. Whites are behind them around 70,000 median income. Hispanics are around 50,000 median income. Black American freedmen Negroes are around 40,000. I tell y'all all the time about the 2004-2014 LA Color of Wealth Report. Free download LA. African blacks had 54% degree. Their median incomes was around 130,000. To U.S. black, 44% degree. with a median income of $53,500. Hispanics were 17% degreed. Their median income was $50,000. Liquidity. Blacks were 60,000. Africans were 60,000 liquid to U.S. black 200 liquid. All of this was 10 years ago, damn near. Worse since the pandemic. Black excellence is a cover word for black immigrants being paid our reparations and protections to become excellent. We also need to event products and get them in box stores to sell. With, yeah, family, with what? Who's lending to people that are broke and have no assets? Stream, you need a river income that is fed by an ocean. Come through, Herb Saint. Black people are not a large market in the U.S., fam. The egregious racial wealth gap is hundreds of trillions of dollars wide. Let me say it yet again. I've said it on other archives. We share about $3 trillion between us. $2.93 trillion is shared by 14% of us, which are predominantly immigrant. The other 86% of us share less than $700 billion since the pandemic. Whites and white identifying immigrants share in hundreds of trillions of dollars. We are not a large market in the U.S. That's why they don't give a damn about our pretend boycotts. Because every dime we got is being used for our survival. We ain't out here doing it well. Come on now. People question my lineage, yet you got these flea bags representing freedmen descendants. Ain't that deep? She better be for reparations or she needs to get back that crown. She should have never got the crown. Bill 720. Do yourself a favor and listen to Dr. Amos Wilson. Some of your anecdotes are outdated and are reactionary. That's BB. Get them together. Lisa says, you mean the Congressional Diversity Caucus? No, I mean the Congressional, with 3 Ks, Black Carcasses. Okay. Dr. Amos Wilson is my master teacher. I follow his teachings and practice it. Come through. You also need to practice Dr. Claude Anderson. There's several others. She ran uncontested. I'm confused. Yeah. Either she ran uncontested, family, or they're lying to give her cover for why she got the crown. Edith, wonderful. Yes, he is the master teacher. And one of the demands of U.S. was to create, innovate, and dominate. The suggestion that we must go out and work 3 jobs at 50 plus is questionable and dangerous. Excuse me. To your point, BB, they're not hiring you if you're black and 50 plus, but they want you to retire and work until you drop, well, not drop dead, because I plan to live to about 125. But now they want to move the retirement age. What's the retirement age? I think they want to move it to 72. Hold on, let me see. What is retirement age in the U.S.? It's 66 if you were born from 43 to 54. The full retirement age increases gradually if you were born from 55 to 60 until it reaches 67. For anyone born 1960 or later, full retirement benefits are payable at age 67. Now, what does that mean for black folks who are unemployed, have the highest rates of unemployment and underemployment? What it means is that you can't survive on the little bit of Social Security that you're paying into because you're not earning enough to have a big Social Security. And so when you're not earning enough to have a big Social Security, you have even less in private kind of fundings, investments. What you gonna do? Especially since they're not hiring black American freedmen Negroes over 50 like that. But they want you to work till you're 67 while making you suffer the highest rates of unemployment and underemployment. One of my bosses, her mom is still working at 83, just broke her toes. She tripped over her foot trying to make a turn, broke her toes. 83, still working. Now, she's in a financial position to retire. She's Indian, like the Revash Deepnarian, who just got this Congressional Black Caucus scholarship. She chooses to work because she don't like being home bored. But now I think they're going to retire her because, of course, they can afford to do so. Problem is, you don't understand white supremacy and how it works. Dr. Wilson talked about black people don't have anything to offer their children. That's why they're crying. We don't. That's true. Lots of black folks don't have anything to give to their children. They need their children to assist them with the bills. I assisted my mom with the bills. I got a job. At 15, we were being paid to work at General Motors. When you were in that program, that vocational program in high school, when you were in Upper Bound, you were paid salaries for that. That helped to relieve my mom, who had 4 kids. She had my stepdad in the home, but he wasn't really contributing that much. She was the one that was working. He was for the streets. I don't know if that's by design or, or by choice. I would venture to say it was by design, maybe, or a combination of the two. I really don't know. Even if you send them back, you still have 50 million of them here. You have to learn self-determination. Come on now, Edith. Now you're losing me. We've been pulling ourselves up by our bootless straps since we fought and won our emancipation. Okay? That's what we've been doing. We wouldn't be 40 million strong from 4 million post-slavery if we weren't pulling ourselves up by our bootless straps, if we weren't self-determined. Please stop the cap. Dr. Amos Wilson also said, if you think the white man going to starve his children and feed yours, you got another thing coming. Do you have an email? I'm trying to organize with my family and friends against these demon rats. Yes, the therepperspect at Gmail is scrolling in the bar below, and it's in the comments. Chicago Reparations town meeting, their local reparations is gone and going to illegals. PBS has been airing Slavery by Another Name. This doco series is poignant review on Black American structural racism since 1875 to 1975 Jim Crow era tactics. If you local advocate or activist, good material to reference and work with and from. Thank you, BB. The solution right now is to stop the hemorrhaging, Edith Thomas. Vote to close the borders. Don't make excuses that 50 million would still be left. You need to get these out, and you need to push for a moratorium on legal immigration because these DACA want citizenship. We need to stop all of that. But what is within our reach is to at least tread water. Because if y'all put this back in office another term, it's a wrap. Black heart people have not come out in droves to undo this fiscal nightmare. Recall process too. That's another solution. They could do a recall. I don't know why they're not. One of the solutions is reparations plus group economics. One of the tenets of reparations, it guarantees of non-repetition. Of course, this won't stop racist white supremacy. Well, Bill 720, with your reparations, you can leave this godforsaken country. How about that? They don't seem to mind illegals coming over here and using our taxes to get to become American and then send money back to their countries. You can surely take your reparations and leave the country and go build someplace where you're celebrated and not exterminated. This ship is going down. How are we going to survive? I told you, you have to weaponize the only commodity you've got left. Trump has already told y'all he's closing the borders and he's going to do mass deportation day one. Why do I believe him? Because he's done it already. These immigrants were afraid to come into the country with Trump in office. I've done that broadcast. It's in the archives. Gail Bellinger, he done got some Latino cat, and he has become a simp because no black women wanted him. So now they're going after the poverty-stricken females that will do everything and anything to eat. I don't know what that's in. Edith says we need to own and control our own community. How far has that gotten us, Edith? It's gotten us gentrified out of our communities. We don't have communities. We got neighborhoods now. That's what we've been reduced to. Owning and controlling is great if people can protect it and willing to do so, but that is the will of the people. Joe Crow's not going to win. What you should do is register everyone to vote, especially local, and put your own in. No, it's not enough for us to just not vote for the Demonrats. We must vote for closed borders. Withholding the vote is not going to save us in a sea of 282 million as delivered by the black vote. You got to get involved. And you got to vote to close the borders. I don't care if the ticket bleeds. You got to do what you got to do. If they have declared war on us, we must return the nuclear missile by voting for closed border candidates. Party be down. So who do we vote for? The lesser of the two evils? No evil is the evil. The only other choice is independent. I guess we're just doomed. What are the choices? There we have no choice. Yes, we do, Miss Gloria Coleman. We got choices. We're not exercising them. Every black in this country should automatically go and pledge themselves as an independent. Now, you got to be careful because sometimes you can't vote in certain primaries if you're independent. You have to get back on the rolls to vote in either out here in the state of California. You've got to pledge Demonrat or Repugnant Clan in order to vote. You can't do it in the primaries. You can't do it as an independent. But I'm not really giving a damn too much about the primaries. I'm about that general where I could go and vote for a closed border candidate like a Trump. Yeah, you got options. You just don't want to do what is necessary right now. You don't want to vote for the mean tweeting Trump. You'd rather be genocided and erased and replaced with immigrants and leave it to them to decide the fate of our line by staying home. Yep, that's what ends up happening generally. Not me. I'm weaponizing this vote like a nuclear missile. I'm not leaving it to chance on voting third party, withholding the vote, third parties that can never win, voting Demonrats. That's a wrap since midterms for me. I'm done. I'm done. How is it defeated attitude? Protection is a natural law. A defeated attitude would be that owning and controlling is impossible. Never wrote that, and I agree with you. More like taking a cleaver to our back, says Yaira, multiple times. Slow Joe Crow, baby. You are right about that, family. A machete. How about that? A machete to our back. They recently found a load of drugs trying to come through the border in an ice cream truck. How much is minimum wage in California? Hold on one second. How much is minimum wage in? Hold on. $15.50 per hour. Still not enough. It should have been $15.50 an hour 20 years ago. Anyway. They want these illegals fertile. No venom for them. Boom, Yaira. While they force feed us abortion clinics in our neighborhoods, right? They're forcing us to abort and encouraging them to pop babies out like popcorn. They want them fertile. No venom for them. Because I'm certain that venom is fucking with, is messing with fertility in black women. BB,
at Reparations, long and strong, 125 plus, beautiful, and good peace of mind and in mind. Oh, thank you, my lovey. I'm a Black Panther. We believe in self-determination, fair housing. Oh, thanks, Edith, for that. Fact, sabotage is real, and we must counter it with unused methods. Listen, I voted for Trump and educated online, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in a basket. Well, honey, it's all we got. It's all we got. Because the majority of us has been putting our eggs in the same demon rat basket for 60 years and counting, since FDR. So like I said, we can't get our people caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser two evil voting and choosing the demon rats as a lesser of the two evil. Now they're genociding us with illegal immigration and legal immigration, putting them in office and all manner of things. No, that answer has to be swift. It has to be targeted like a nuclear missile. We got to drop the bomb on the demon rats for several election cycles. This ain't the only one. I got to lean in if this works to keep us on this, because it's going to get crazy, but it won't be no crazier than what we're currently experiencing. Just let's not get amnesia if we're fortunate to get Trump in office. He's MAGA, but the rhinos, the rhino Republicans, and the liberals are in bed together to genocide us. Trump, the one y'all hate, is seeking to protect poor white America, his base, the Tea Party, and underneath that umbrella is Black Americans. So although he's not directly trying to do it, indirectly we benefit the most. Trump is going to have to come big for Black people. Not really. He don't need our vote. Republicans ain't never needed our vote. We got to go big for them for our own line to survive. We're not going to survive it if we don't get Trump back in office. We're not going to survive. And that's why they've indicted the man 37 counts of the same bullshiggity that they're doing. And allowing Hunter Biden to escape with no jail time. Hi, Ivy Dreams. I guess Black folks forgot that it was Demon Rat Andrew Johnson who reversed the 40-acre and a mule. This decision changed our trajectory. Come through, Ivy Dreams. Teach. Demon Rats were repackaged during the 30s due to blame Black heart American people for their movements in political spaces is futile. BB, you said a word right there, my love. Okay, that's the end. Thank goodness I got that done. Big facts. I got that done in 30 minutes. I was speeding through. I didn't get to read all your comments, but I thank you so much, co-host. Let's do our spiritual treatment. This is going to make me feel better. I pray it makes you feel better. Make sure you get your candles. And you can write this, or you can type it out and paste it on your candles and burn them and keep burning them until we break the back of these ethno-genocidal plans of both the rhinos and the demon rats. Okay, let's go. So I want us to take 3 cleansing breaths in for love for Black American freedmen, Negro, and our allies, and breathe out peace. All together now, breathe in. And breathe out. Another deep cleansing breath in. And breathe out. One more deep cleansing breath in. And breathe out. Let us become still. And let's align our consciousness. Okay. Let our inner Christ touch and agree. You can either say it aloud with me, you can say it silently, you can just listen and absorb it in your consciousness. I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial system, including the race soldiers and the deputized, CPS Child Protective Services, the judges, the attorneys, the FBI agents, the CIA, and all personnel working for the U.S. corporation with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forevermore in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states, across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. And so it is. Oh, that felt better already, y'all. That's why I came on live. I had to do the spiritual treatment. I did all that to get to the spiritual treatment. I like to have collective consciousness around my spiritual treatment. So I build it into the broadcast, okay? That was a lot, family. Thank you so much for joining the live. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Black American freedmen, Negroes, and its allies are, God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. If no one's told you today how much they love you, know that I love you, Black American freedman, Negro strong. Yes, I do. And until we meet again, prayerfully tomorrow, we'll see what the ancestors have to say about driving me out of my bed. I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your Saturday. And until next time, family, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, and reparations, family. Ciao for now.